never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. My name is Mike, and I want to tell you about the worst betrayal I've ever experienced, one that turned my entire world upside down. It all started about a month ago, right around the time we were getting ready for the wedding. Everything seemed perfect, me and Lisa, my fiancée, finally tying the knot after almost 3 years together. She was gorgeous, smart, confident, and honestly, I thought we had a rock-solid relationship. We'd been through a lot, long nights, work stress, family drama, and I believed nothing could shake us. But looking back now, I should have seen the signs. Lisa was acting weird. She was more irritable, snapping at me over small things, and she started canceling plans with friends. She'd always been a bit of a bitch, honestly. She loved to lie and manipulate whenever it suited her, but I'd never suspected she'd go this far. Not until the rehearsal dinner, that is. On the night before the wedding, we had everyone over at her place for dinner, and she was acting more bitchy than usual. She was snapping at her friends, making snide comments about her bridesmaids, and she kept checking her phone. I thought she was just nervous, or maybe she was hiding some last-minute wedding stress. After everyone left, I stayed up a little to tidy up. I was exhausted but happy, thinking how everything was finally coming together. That's when I noticed her phone lying face down on the table. I usually don't look through her stuff, but I was curious and maybe a little nosy. I just wanted to see if she was as nervous as she seemed. I grabbed her phone and swiped it open. That's when I saw it, the message thread from a number I didn't recognize. It was filled with flirty, intimate messages, and the last one was from her, something about how hot he was, how she couldn't wait to see him again. My stomach dropped. I stared at the screen, trying to process what I'd just read. I was stunned. It didn't make sense. Lisa had always been a bitch, yes, but I never thought she'd cheat on me, especially not right before the wedding. I kept going through her messages, and it was worse than I imagined. She'd been seeing this guy, Mark, her best man, for weeks, and they were clearly planning something. I felt sick, like the ground was opening beneath me. How could she do this? How could she lie so blatantly? I felt a mix of anger, heartbreak, and disbelief. I wanted to scream, but I just sat there, staring at her betrayal in her own words. I knew I had to confront her, but I wasn't ready. Not yet. I spent the night tossing and turning, trying to decide what to do. Part of me wanted to wake her up right then, scream at her, demand answers. But another part told me to hold back, to think carefully. I never in a million years thought Lisa, my bride-to-be, would be unfaithful, especially not with Mark, my best man, the guy I trusted the most besides my own brother. The next morning I woke up early, feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. My head was pounding and my stomach was in knots. I knew I couldn't just ignore this, not anymore. So I decided I'd talk to her face to face, sober and clear-headed. I needed to see her reaction, see if she'd deny it or come clean. When she woke up, I grilled her about her night, about what she was doing on her phone late at night. She brushed it off, acting defensive, saying I was paranoid, that she was just talking to her sister or an old friend. I knew that was bullshit. Her eyes kept darting and I caught her lying more than once. Finally, I took her phone and showed her the messages. Her face instantly twisted into this bitchy sneer, like I'd just inconvenienced her or annoyed her. "Oh, come on, Mike," she snapped. "It's not what you think, it's just a stupid flirt. Nobody's doing anything serious." She lied so easily, so quickly. She even tried to make it sound like I was overreacting, like I was the one in the wrong. She said Mark was just a friend, nothing more, that she was just bored and it was harmless fun. But the way she said it, the way she looked at me, I could see right through her. It was all bullshit. I felt a rage boiling up inside me. How could she betray me like this? She knew how much I loved her, how much I trusted her. This wasn't just an affair, it was a slap in the face. I asked her why she'd do this, why she'd cheat on me right before our wedding. She rolled her eyes and said I was being paranoid, that I was just insecure. "You really think I'd do something so stupid? You're overthinking, Mike." That's when I saw the real her, the bitchy, manipulative side she always kept hidden behind her pretty face. I wanted to smash her phone, to punch something, but I held myself back. All I could think about was how everything I believed in was crumbling. The woman I loved, the woman I was about to marry, was lying to my face, screwing around with my best man. How did it get to this point? How did I miss all the warning signs? I kept asking myself those questions as I stared at her, waiting for her to finally admit it. But she just kept lying, kept pretending it was nothing. I knew I couldn't trust her anymore. The woman I thought I knew was gone, replaced by this manipulative, cheating bitch. And honestly, I didn't know if I could ever look at her the same way. Again, after that confrontation, everything changed. I felt like I was walking around in a fog, like I was disconnected from reality. On one hand, I was furious, full-blown rage at her betrayal, at her lies, at Mark's sick involvement. On the other hand, I was devastated, heartbroken, feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. How could she do this? How could she cheat on me, especially with someone I trusted so much? I kept replaying the moments in my head, trying to understand how everything had gone so wrong in what was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. I didn't want to believe she'd just lie her way out of it, so I decided I had to get some proof. I started sneaking around, checking her emails, her social media accounts. I wanted to see if there was more to this than just a few flirty messages. I found some text exchanges with Mark, obviously more than just friendly, explicit conversations that made my stomach turn. It was clear they'd been cheating for weeks. The worst part was how convincing she was when she denied everything. She kept telling me I was overreacting, that I was insecure, that she loved me and would never do something so stupid. But I could see through her lies now. She was a master manipulator. One night, I finally decided I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. I told her I needed space, that I was going to stay with my brother for a few days. Inside, I was boiling with anger and betrayal, but I knew I had to stay calm. I was trying to plan my next move. I realized I couldn't just walk away without doing something about it. I wanted her to pay for what she did, not just with words, but somehow I needed to make her regret this. I also knew I had to protect myself emotionally. I couldn't keep living in this lie, pretending everything was okay. That's when I started thinking about revenge. Not a petty kind, but something calculated, something that would make her realize the magnitude of what she'd lost. I wasn't going to just walk away quietly. I wanted her to feel the pain she'd caused me, the way I'd felt when I found out. I started to plan how I would do that. It was clear she was the type to lie her way out of anything, so I had to be smarter than her. I wanted her to see that her actions had consequences and that she couldn't just cheat and get away with it. The more I thought about it, the more I knew I had to act fast. I couldn't let her get away with this, not without a lesson. In the days that followed, I threw myself into planning. I wasn't about to let her off the hook easily. I started gathering every piece of evidence I could find, screenshots of messages, photos from her phone, anything that could prove how deep this betrayal went. I wanted to be prepared for whatever she might say or do when I finally confronted her again. Honestly, I felt like I was in a war zone, and every move I made was calculated to hit her where it hurt the most. Meanwhile, Lisa continued her bullshit. She was still acting like I was overreacting, still trying to spin her lies. She kept telling me she loved me, that it was just a stupid mistake, that Mark was just a mistake of youth, even though the evidence screamed otherwise. She insisted she was confused, that she didn't mean for any of this to happen, but I wasn't buying it. Her attitude was so dismissive, so full of attitude, like I was supposed to just accept her bullshit and move on. That only fueled my desire for revenge. I knew that she thrived on manipulation, so I had to be smarter. One evening, I decided I'd catch her in the act. I set up a little trap, hid a camera in her bedroom of all places, and waited. I wanted to see her with my own eyes, to know exactly what she was up to when I wasn't around. It was nerve-wracking, waiting for her to come home, wondering if she'd fall for it. When she finally walked in that night, she was her usual bitchy self, acting aloof, snapping at her phone, throwing her purse down. I watched through the camera feed as she started texting Mark again, her tone flirty and daring. Then, to my shock, she started kissing him right there in her own bed. I couldn't believe it. I'd caught her red-handed. That moment was like a punch to the stomach. All the planning, all the anger, it came rushing out in pure, raw fury. I knew I had to confront her immediately. I couldn't hold back anymore. I grabbed my phone, played the recording for her, and told her to look at herself. Her face turned white, her eyes darted everywhere, and she started lying, of course. "It's not what you think," she said. "It's just sex, Mike. It's nothing serious. You're overreacting again." But I wasn't stupid anymore. I saw her true face, bitchy, manipulative, a liar. I was done. That night I told her she needed to leave, that I wasn't going to be played anymore. I was furious, hurt, but mostly just tired of her bullshit. And that's when I realized I had to do something more, something that would make her regret ever messing with me. After that night, everything changed again. I didn't sleep much. I felt like I'd been punched in the chest repeatedly, but I knew I couldn't let her stay. She packed her bags and left, acting like she was the victim, like I was overreacting. Typical Lisa, always the bitchy liar, never taking responsibility. I stayed up all night, staring at the empty space where she had been, feeling a mix of relief and raw pain. I knew deep down that I had to do more than just kick her out. I needed to make her understand that her actions had consequences, that I wasn't just some fool she could manipulate. I started to think about revenge in a more calculated way. Not something petty, but something that would hit her where it hurt, something she'd never forget. I didn't want to just destroy her reputation. I wanted her to feel the weight of what she'd done, to see what she lost. I knew she was the manipulative type, so I planned to turn the tables on her. I wanted her to see that I wasn't some idiot she could cheat on and walk all over. I'd kept all the evidence, the recordings, the messages, and I decided I'd use them carefully. Over the next few weeks, I made sure to keep my distance. I stayed with my brother, avoided her calls and texts, and worked on my own healing. But inside, I was brewing a plan. I reached out to a lawyer I knew, asking about how to handle this, if I could use the evidence to get some sort of leverage. I also started to spread rumors about her, nothing malicious, just enough to make her realize that her reputation was on the line if she kept lying. I didn't want to ruin her completely, but I wanted her to understand she couldn't keep getting away with this. One day, I finally made the decision. I was going to confront her one last time, but this time with a purpose. I sent her a message, telling her I knew everything about Mark, her lies, the cheating. I told her I had proof, and that if she didn't come clean, I'd make sure everyone knew the truth. That's when she finally broke down and tried to spin some more bullshit. She claimed it was all a mistake, that she loved me, that Mark was just a fling. I just laughed at her. I realized at that moment I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. I had to walk away clean, with my dignity intact and with the lessons learned. I knew I'd never trust her again, and honestly, I don't think I'd want to. I'm still healing, still trying to put the pieces back together, but one thing for sure, I won't let her walk all over me again. That confrontation was the last straw. I told her straight up that I knew everything, about her lying, about Mark, about the countless times she manipulated her way out of trouble. I showed her the evidence I'd carefully gathered, screenshots, recordings, messages, and watched her face twist into something ugly. She tried to deny it, of course, but I wasn't buying her bullshit anymore. Her bitchy attitude, the way she sneered at me, the way she insisted it was all a mistake, it all just confirmed what I'd already realized. She didn't care about us, about what we had. She only cared about herself. That day I made my decision. I told her she needed to leave for good. I wasn't going to be a fool anymore, not for her, not for that manipulative, cheating bitch. She packed her things, threw a tantrum, called me names, but I just stood there numb. I knew I'd never trust her again. The pain was still there, deep in my chest, but it was different now, familiar, almost like a wave I'd gotten used to riding. I also knew I'd have to rebuild my life from scratch, but somehow that didn't seem impossible anymore. Over the next few weeks, I focused on myself. I cut ties with her entirely. I blocked her on everything, phone, social media, everywhere. I sold the house we shared, moved into a new place, and slowly started to pick up the pieces. The funny thing is, I felt a strange sense of relief. I'd been living in her shadow, trying to hold onto something that was already gone. Now I was finally free. Free from her lies, her bitchiness, her manipulations. I realized I'd spent too much time caring about what she thought, trying to fix what was broken. But the truth is, some damage can't be undone, and some people just aren't worth it. Looking back, I learned a lot. I learned that trust is fragile, and when it's broken, it's almost impossible to repair. I learned that some people use their charm and lies to get what they want, no matter who gets hurt. Most of all, I learned that revenge doesn't always mean hurting someone back. It's about standing your ground, reclaiming your dignity, and walking away with your head held high. I don't regret exposing her, even if it hurt like hell. In the end, I know I gained something that's more valuable than a wedding or a happy ending, myself. And I'll never let anyone take that away from me again.